How to choose a TRT clinic. It's a question I get asked all the time. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Step number one, choose a TRT clinic. Now, I know this sounds ridiculous, but a lot of people who have problems with their therapy, okay, whether they're not getting the therapy or whether the therapy is not the way it should be and they're not getting the results they should be getting, like they're having side effects, it's almost always because they did not go to a TRT clinic, okay? You have a sore throat, you go to your doctor. Okay, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. If you blow out your knee and you need to have your meniscus fucking created, or you have to have a ligament taken out of your groin and put back in to create your ACL again or something, to replace something, you don't go to your doctor who you went to for a sore throat. You don't go to your general practitioner. You go to a specialist on rebuilding knees. If you have a cavity, you don't go to a general practitioner, you go to a dentist, okay? If you need a pair of glasses, you don't go to a general practitioner, you go to an eye doctor, okay? So when you have a problem with low testosterone, you go to a hormone specialist, okay? Now, I'll tell you, my girlfriend is lucky. She lives and works near a doctor who really specializes in testosterone and hormone replacement, okay, for men and for women. So she's lucky enough to have a guy that right in her area that she went to, okay? When I jumped on TRT, I did not have that, okay? So I had to go to an online clinic, okay? And what happens is, they're like, oh, that's just a steroid factory. No, you fucking moron looking for excuses not to work out. It's not, okay? Instead of going into an office and having blood drawn, I go into like Care Spot or whatever those places are called, have the blood drawn, it's sent over to the doctor, okay, who's in South Florida. Then he goes ahead and analyzes it, okay? I don't go into the office and talk to him. I get on a telephone and talk to the doctor, but it's the same thing. I get actual testosterone from an actual pharmacy prescribed with an actual prescription by an actual doctor, okay? The difference is he's just further away, okay? Now, why don't you just go to your general practitioner? Because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like I said, I'm not gonna trust the guy I go to for a sore throat with my knee if I thoroughly fuck it up. And I don't want him drilling in my mouth either if I have a fucking cavity, so I go to a specialist. It's the same thing here. When I first jumped on TRT, I had the telephone consultation, blood was already drawn, questionnaires filled out, everything from my side, and I'm talking to him and he's like, okay, so average, testosterone is a level from 300 to 1100. I had like 400. So I was within the acceptable level. There are a lot of doctors, a lot of house doctors who will say, hey, 400, that's easily within the acceptable level. 2 problems. One of them is that is the average range for people between 18, 20 years old and 80 years old. Okay, if I had the blood pressure of an 80-year-old, would they say, oh, that's within range? No, they'd be like, holy fuck, you're 40, you got the blood pressure of an 80-year-old. We need to get this shit down to fucking, as good as we can. If I had the fucking heart rate or the fucking blood sugar level or whatever, if my shit was fucked up and practically off the charts, people would be like, hey, you gotta take some meds to get it down. But most doctors, okay, most general practitioners would say, oh, it's 300, it's 400, it's still within normal range. So you might not even get TRT if you go to a general practitioner, if you don't go to somebody who actually specializes. And during that conversation, he's like, well, what we want to do is we want to double it, basically, to go from 400 to 800, 900, which is it's called high normal. It's normal, it's not a PED level, but it's the higher end, okay? And the way I always describe it is, you're in school in gym class and there's a kid who's naturally athletic, naturally fast, naturally strong, naturally athletic. He's not on PEDs in junior high school or elementary school. It's just some people have, hormones running through their body that are more natural, okay? So that's where I want to be, and that's where the doctor wanted me to be. So he wants me to be at the high average, okay? So that's one thing. Like I said, if you don't go to a hormone specialist, you might not even get TRT. A lot of them are unless you're under 300, you're not going to get shit from me, okay? Which is wrong, okay? First of all. Because it doesn't just have to do with surviving, your muscles aren't falling off the bone, your penis isn't crawling back into your stomach. It has to do with, is this optimal? Are you living your best life? And once again, like I said, let's say you have the heart rate or the blood pressure of an 80-year-old man. Are you going to die? No. Are you going to have a very active life? No. Don't fucking overexert yourself and don't watch scary movies. You might have a fucking heart attack because you have the fucking blood pressure of an 80-year-old. So that's the reason why they bring it down as low as they can to normal. So anyway, that's one thing. Another thing is there are, in general, 3 things that you're going to need. And this is not legal advice. This is not medical advice. This is just my experience, okay? And this is, my research, and do your own research, okay? You're going to need testosterone, obviously. Okay, that's the basis. You're going to need something called HCG, okay? HCG basically stimulates your testicles to continue to produce the little bit of testosterone they're producing, even though you're getting in testosterone, like exogenous, like from outside of your body. So what this means is, you hear about steroid balls. A guy goes on steroids, he has like testosterone, huge amounts of testosterone coming into his body through his muscles in an injection, and his testicles shrink. Well, that's because there's so much testosterone. Why should they bother making testosterone? The same thing happens if you go on medical, like doctor prescribed testosterone replacement. If you're taking an external, testosterone through a shot, your testicles are going to stop producing testosterone. So they're going to shrink. And also, if you ever were to jump off of testosterone, off of TRT, you wouldn't be producing any more of your own. So by taking HCG, okay, you are going to continue producing the little amount of testosterone that you can, okay? Your balls will not shrink. There will be no testicular atrophy. And if you were to stop immediately doing testosterone replacement therapy, you won't have the extra testosterone, but your body will still be producing testosterone, okay? So that's something, once again, not medical advice, but that's something in my experience and my research necessary, okay? And then the other thing is some sort of aromatase inhibitor, because when you take in testosterone, it has the potential to turn into estrogen, and too much estrogen is a bad thing. Okay, so you may, depending upon how your body reacts, have to take some Arimidex or not or whatever. Okay, which is the reason why you're doing this through a doctor and getting blood tests. Okay, so let's talk about that. When you're doing this, okay, when you're doing this through your house doctor, okay, a lot of times, like I've heard people say, like, oh, I'm not going to give you HCG. That's for pregnant women. That's true. HCG is really used to get women pregnant, okay? So if you go to a house doctor who doesn't know shit, your general practitioner who doesn't know shit about testosterone replacement, he might be like, oh, I'm not going to give you that. That's to get women pregnant, man. Because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, because he's not a specialist, okay? If you go to a specialist, okay, a hormone replacement specialist, whether in person or online, they will be like, yes, we also need to do HCG, okay? The same thing with Arimidex, okay? Some people turn more testosterone into estrogen than others, okay? You can't tell, you gotta test. There are side effects you'll feel, and also blood work to test what your E2, your estradiol levels are, okay? Now, some people need Arimidex, some people don't need any, some people need more, okay? That's also used to treat female breast cancer. So they're like, that's a female breast cancer treatment. I'm not giving that to you. Ho, 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 ho. Because the doctor doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, because he's not a specialist. So that's the reason why, like I said, unless you're fucking dead, a lot of doctors won't give you TRT at all. Some of them might give you a little bit of testosterone, but a lot of them won't give you Arimidex or HCG, which you also need, okay? And let's talk about testosterone. There are different types of, there's one type of testosterone, but they're locked into something called an ester, okay? And the ester is like a time release, it's kind of like, there are certain ones that will last like a day or two. There are certain ones that will last a week or two. A lot of times when a doctor doesn't really know what he's doing, he'll tell you to shoot like maybe once every 2 weeks, okay? And then you get into something called the emotional roller coaster, where you get shot up, you have a lot of testosterone, and then it kind of goes downhill, 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 downhill. And now you have even less than you did before you started therapy. And then all of a sudden you get a shot and it goes up again and it goes down and goes down and down. So like if you go to a proper clinic, whether online or in person, they will have you shooting up more often, at least once every 7 days. Sometimes they do it like every 3 days, like twice a week instead of once a week. But like I said, you're really not going to see a whole lot of people having you shoot up like once every 10 days or once every 14 days. And another problem with the house doctors, with the general practitioner, is a lot of them won't trust you to inject yourself. Okay? Now, do you think you're going to be able to make it every Thursday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon into the doctor's office? What happens if they don't have an appointment? What happens if they're closed? What happens if you can't just take off every Thursday? You're going to be fucked. You're going to miss shots. It might take a while before you get your next one, and you go through the emotional roller coaster again. Whereas an online clinic, obviously, you're going to have to shoot yourself up, or someone will have to shoot you up, or a knowledgeable hormone replacement specialist in person will give you the syringes and the testosterone you need and expect you to shoot up yourself. They'll teach you how to do it themselves, okay? So all reasons not to go to your doctor, unless he is a specialist, in which case we're probably not having this conversation, but definitely do not go to your general practitioner. Go to a specialist or an online clinic. Now, how do you choose an online clinic if you don't have one around the corner? What I suggest you do is I suggest you go to a place called excelmale.com. And that's a forum specifically for aging men who want to optimize their hormone levels. And there are a lot of different doctors and clinics that advertise there, and a lot of them are very active in the forums themselves, okay? So that is the best place, excelmale.com. That is the best place for you to go to read forum posts, look things up in the forum. I mean, almost all your questions are probably already answered. Ask a question. People are really good at answering questions there. Like I said, there are a lot of suggestions that people will give you. There are a lot of online clinics that advertise there. You can see reviews of them, what people thought about them. And I think that is the best way to go ahead and find an online clinic. Okay, definitely go to excelmale.com. I have absolutely no affiliation whatsoever before people start talking shit, because they're fucking losers, have nothing better to do than talk shit. Definitely think that, like I said, you should go there, make the decision for yourself about which doctor or clinic you want to go to. Now, having said that, okay, I will tell you where I go to get my stuff and why, okay? Everybody knows that I've been, I was in real estate, but I kind of got out of real estate. I'm really working on building up like this brand, okay? I'm finally finding like my voice, so to speak. My change just rebranded from anaerobics to Old Man Revolution. I'm really changing a lot of stuff right now. And, I just don't have a massive income coming in. So pricing and specifically stability of pricing was a concern for me, okay? It was something that I considered. So I found a place called Royal Men's Medical Center, okay? When I looked at the website, what I really liked is they give you HCG, they give you testosterone, and they give you, depending upon how much you need, they give you Arimidex, okay? So I knew I was gonna get all three that I needed, okay? Bloods are drawn on a regular basis, okay, in the beginning, before treatment, then right after you start treatment, and then on a regular basis afterwards. Anytime you have a question, you just call them up, and they just handle your problems. I have absolutely positively no affiliation whatsoever with these people. Like I said, it's just everybody asks what I use, and this is what I use. And the thing is, it costs like less than $200, and it covers everything. So if I need blood work, they send me like some fax. I just take it in, get my blood drawn for free. When I need my meds, they get shipped per UPS for free. All the syringes and everything are in there. So it's basically, like I said, it's like under $200 a month, and it covers everything. Every consultation, every blood drawing, every single medication, everything that I really need is covered. Now, like I said, I'm not going to recommend that. I'm just going to say, for the people that want to know, that is what I'm going to tell you. That is where I go. That's why I go there. Definitely, if you want to check this out, go online to excelmale.com, kind of lurk around the forum, ask questions, look at some of the questions that have already been answered. And like I said, maybe, ask for some recommendations or ask for some people's experiences and choose your own clinic. But definitely the most important thing is you find an expert, whether it's online or in person. You find an absolute expert who knows what he's doing and has a lot of experience and a lot of training specifically with hormone replacement. That's the number one most important piece of advice that I can give anybody who's considering TRT.